So we
What
have,
happened to me?
yeah, what have, Sophie has written yes, now you can see, Sophie has written she may not be able to join, but she will listen later. So we were talking in our session what Eastern wisdom says that we have to remove the static noise inside our mind and we have to follow the wisdom intellect. Why? To transform our life. What is that transformation? That transformation is uh, seeking peace and happiness in our life and end to the suffering. So, normally, when we talk of the static noise, it points to the worldly intellect, a mind filled with expectations, fears, blame, complaint, reaction, anxiety, almost every day. On a small things, we get into anxiety and reaction and sometimes almost unwanted, uninvited issues, and we get carried away. Behind behind this noise in the mind, we understand that it is not required, but still we cannot be very clear in our mind. Why? Because it has become our impulsive nature and habitual nature. We have to transform our life by changing the mindset. So that is why we have categorized one is the worldly mind or default mind, the other is the wise mind. So the default mind points to the noisy, busy, reactive, chasing expectations, a relationship, and emotional drama. Have you seen that? They are regarded as very pure people. You are watching a film, and then the villain is beating the actor, and you start crying. So they are considered a great people. No, they are very weak people. Very weak. Come on, that is a movie. The plot has been created. You should use the wisdom. Come on, mind you need not to cry. I know you will feel some upset, I'm very emotionally pure. No, that is not emotionally pure. You are emotionally immature. Ah, a seeker's journey emphasizes that there is a inner path, not an instant miracle. It is not an instant miracle. One has to be sincere, committed to change this mindset to result that results in lasting peace. Lasting peace or permanent peace and happiness is our goal, not the temporary emotional highs, but a stable inner state that does not depend on changing people, possession, or circumstances. What is the goal? Let me change myself. So when I change myself from inside, let there be any situation, condition, people, relationship. Mind, maintain the calm. Mind, maintain the poise. Mind, don't be reactive. Mind, keep that peace in you. Why? Situation, people, relationship, outside in the world, you don't have control over it. Why to worry? Why to be impacted by them? So we understand, we analyze and reflect how we can change that. What is the cause of what happens when I see a situation outside that causes anxiety, reaction, blame, and complaint? What is the root cause behind me? Let me remove that root cause. Why? So that the mind remains in peace, calm, in the poise, in daily living. Because the situation, condition, people will continue to change every day. You cannot have the same season, same temperature, same relation, same thought every day. It keeps on changing. First thing, very first step, first step to observe, understand your own mind, its impulsivity, its reaction, its fear, its frustration, its complaint. You have to make a list in your head that what are those events, people, relations which causes this fear, failure, frustration, reaction. If you don't do that, then you will try to extract the peace and happiness and love in the name of attachment and an emotional pleasure from them, like we discussed, like dog chewing a dry bone. My master used to say that it's very tough. You are crying, you are blaming, you are complaining, you are enjoying the pleasure out of attachment. It is like dog chewing a dry bone. If you cannot get rid of this, you cannot get rid of the anxiety also. Both are the same sides, both are the two sides of the same coin. This mind structure has to change. So what happens in the mind? Mind converts every event. When this mind is full of expectation, it converts every event into a personal incident. Why it is a personal incident? How come? Because of attachment, because of reaction, because of seeking pleasure, etc., 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 etc. So that is the first step. When you recognize, you need to recognize. You need to be aware. I always used to give an example. Instead of accepting marriage or divorce is a certification of happiness and love, that is the nature of the crazy mind. And this must change. How? By discernment, to realize that a happiness is neither in a person, nor in a marriage, or nor in a divorce. That happiness, joy is living in. So, from the crazy worldly mind, we have to move to become a seeker. To become a seeker, I need a self-awareness. I need to observe how this mind is causing me fear, failure, frustration. I told you this young guy who has been my student for a couple of years, he said, I'm rich. is 39 or 40 years, something like this. So I'm rich and I am scared. Why I'm scared? Because I'm rich. So I told him that calculate your financial turnover this year and don't become more rich. Whatever the extra amount that you earn this year, transfer it to me so that you don't become more rich, so you are not scared. You don't have a fear. He says, no, no, you don't understand. I said, I really understand you very well. So I have to choose to become a seeker. A seeker is not just curious, a seeker is committed to discover permanent peace and happiness within himself or herself. The choice requires. Now, this choice, if you have to make a choice to discover that permanent peace and happiness within, it demands a humility. What is the humility in this case? So simple. What I have been doing is not working. I do not yet know. So let me know and understand these principles of Eastern wisdom to change myself. That is the simple thing. That is the first thing. And that is why I'm talking in every session, giving you those principles. But at the same time, consistency in the study, reflection, and the practice is required. Without this kind of an orientation, a person cannot become a seeker. I have to constantly use the statement that I'm no longer satisfied being a casual consumer of the world outside. That gives me the blame, complaint, reaction. I want a real change. Let me listen to it. Let me understand these principles with a humility, with patience, with consistency. They are not optional, they are essential. So, when you are committed, you are consistent, and you accept the teaching with a humility, your mind, your intellect is now prepared to understand deeply. What it understands deeply? That chasing a mirage in a desert, no matter how fast you run, the water recedes, dissolves. You get more exhausted, but not more fulfilled. So, more rich or poor or less rich. That wealth has a limit. It can access only the body, it cannot access the mind. It cannot access the fear, anxiety, reaction. It has only an access until the body. You may have a big house, you may have a costly clothes, you may have the best food. It cannot go inside. The wealth, anything that you buy from the wealth cannot go inside beyond the body. That is why we say the wealth cannot buy happiness. But it does not mean that we don't need it. We need it for survival. So, this kind of an understanding is required almost every day until our mind changes. So, understanding, we have to understand how the mind seeks externally. If the mind believes the material wealth beyond survival will finally create security and happiness, yes, some security, some kind of short term pleasure, but not permanent happiness, the fear will continue. Look at this guy who is a rich guy. It seeks validation, praise, likes, admiration, as if approval could fill an inner emptiness. No, it cannot fulfill the inner emptiness. So we do not start seeking that kind of an approval. So the crazy mind leans to the sensory pleasure, food, entertainment, comfort for relief, ignoring their temporary nature. We ignore the temporary nature, we get absorbed into it. So I need to change that mindset. It even chases emotional highs in drama, mistaking intensity for aliveness, then feels empty afterward. I get excited. Oh, let us see. And then I shed the tears. Emotional high, it comes down. No. Third point. So, first we started with the nature of the worldly mind or worldly intellect. I have to make a choice to become a seeker. And when I become a seeker, I understand my unmet expectations, my desires of seeking peace and happiness outside in the world. So now I understand my subtle mind. I can see these expectations. And then I realize that the moment I have an expectation in the mind from the world, it comes with anxiety, it comes with fear, it comes with failure, it comes with the frustration, it comes with the blame, it comes with complaint. Expectations are mental attachments to specific outcomes in people, in events and situations. Whenever you have an anxiety and you are a seeker, you can see the expectation and attachment go together. Because you have the anxiety, so you pay more attention to the anxiety. Hiding behind is the expectation. You drop it, anxiety is gone. Once expectations are held behind, the mind lives in fear and anxiety, constant management of what should happen. That anxiety, that fear says, what should happen now? Because I have that expectation. So this expectation becomes an impulsive habit of the mind. Right? When it becomes an impulsive habit of the mind, then what happens? First, talk of relationship. Your relationship becomes unstable because they are built on you must, you means outside, you must make me happy rather than I acceptance. Are you getting it? Emotional swings from the soulmate to resentment reflect expectation, not the true nature of the other. So when I become a seeker, I chose to become a seeker. I understand the external seeking and expectations present in my mind, and then I recognize, oh, this is the root of the suffering. So I drop the expectations rather than I start living to fulfill the expectations of others, limited, near and dear ones. You have already seen, you have a better experience. You see that your pain intensifies when you insist the world should match your inner script. Are you understanding? Your worldly mind has an inner script. This guy, this person will meet my expectation, and the guy doesn't meet, then your pain intensifies. Your pain intensifies when you insist the world should match your inner script. Inner script is present in the mind. Your expectations. You understand that dropping expectation is not a passivity. It is a freedom from inner compulsion. That is the impulsive mind. So this realization opens the door to a new kind of a response, guided by the wisdom rather than the demand. Think. One has to not only listen every day, we have to contemplate, reflect, we have to analyze our mind in order to change. So we saw this nature of this worldly mind, and we chose to become a seeker by understanding the external seeking. And when we pointed out those expectations from the world outside, we found it is the root of the suffering. From there, we can awaken to the wisdom, intellect, or the wise mind. And the wise mind, once you awaken to the wise mind, that lives with you. And what is the wisdom mind or wisdom intellect? The wisdom mind or intellect observes the thoughts and emotions before reacting. It observes. So, in that observation, it finds the mixture of expectation with anxiety expectation, with reaction expectation, with impulsivity. You drop it. How you drop it? You drop the thought. The feeling also drops. Creating a pause. You have a conscious choice. It takes time. How you drop it? You discern. How you discern? You discern from real, from the unreal. What is permanent versus what is temporary. It continues ordinary life, work, relationship, responsibilities without expecting them to provide permanent happiness. What the wisdom mind does, it uses the self-awareness to see the difference between the expectation and no expectation. When expectations are dropped, it naturally responds with a calmness, clarity, and compassion instead of a blame, complaint, and reaction. So, today's topic we discussed old pattern of the mind, event. From that old pattern of the mind, I observe the event outside, relations outside. Old pattern of the mind is full of expectations. It creates an automatic reaction of blame, fear, anxiety, reaction. Before I enter into conflict with anyone outside, I enter into inner conflict. Temporary patch. I repeat it constantly every day. It becomes my habit. one option that we have been living with. Another option, the new pattern, the event. Pause and observe. I see expectation and the anxiety go together. Expectation and blame go together. Expectation and complaint go together. So let me find out. Expectation. Oh, I'm into anxiety. What is the expectation? Oh, this is it. Let me drop it. The moment you drop, you can find calmness within, but it cannot go easily. That is why we need to practice. So each conscious response weakens the old habit. That is the doubt we all have. Each conscious response weakens the old habit and strengthens the wisdom pathway. Sometimes we think, just by thinking what will happen, everything will happen by the right thinking. That is the nature of the wisdom intellect. I'm repeating again. Each conscious response means when you think consciously, you make a right choice, you recognize the expectation and anxiety, they are the two sides of this same coin. And you say, no, I will not think in this way, I will think in this way. That is your conscious response. It weakens the old habit. You have to repeat it again and again, followed by the practice of meditation. Then what happens? First time you start living like a wise seeker. And when you start living like a wise seeker, inner peace is experienced more frequently and for a longer stretches, independent of outer success or failure. Even in the family, they say, oh, come and watch movies. So I sit down. But I don't see any impact of the movie on me. It hardly matters whether I'm sitting or not sitting. There is no issue. But rather than I make fun of those villains and actors, no, the writer has created this plot in a movie. That is why the villain is beating the actor, or hijacked or kidnapped the actresses. It's a plot. So when I think it's a plot created by the writer, director created that plot in a film, oh, finished. In any of your situations, then first time you recognize that you can change because you have stabilized the wisdom intellect and you have started thinking, speaking, and acting like a wise seeker in the journey of life. Close your eyes, followed by the practice. Close your eyes. Find out being comfortable, place, position, and posture. First step I have been talking about place, position, and posture. Physical, mental foundation for inward focus. Means what you are doing, you are becoming aware. You are not moving body. You are preparing a physical, mental foundation for inward focus. That is the meaning. You feel place, you feel the position, you feel the posture, and what is the purpose? To prevent distraction, sleepiness, and mental drift. That is the goal of the first step. I believe you got it. You don't get it, you have to repeat the practice. Now, in the second step, we have been understanding we have to experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness by changing the direction of the mind from outside to inside. Why? With the impulsive mind always lives outside and it accumulates lot of expectations, fear, failure, frustration inside. So we change the direction of the mind. How we change the direction of the mind? I told you, I believe you remember, move your awareness or move your mind from on the skin of the body, from top of the head to the toes, slowly, gently. When you do it slowly and gently, you start experiencing sensation, comfort, and steadiness. These are qualities of the mind. So you experience the sensation, good sensation inside the mind, comfort inside the mind, steadiness inside the mind. Why these qualities? They indicate the mind is looking within rather than outward. But if you don't follow these steps in sequence, it will not work. So that is why repeat practice will help you to reach to that state. Oh, is that so? Yes. That is the way it should work. And we understand the third step is being carefree. Being carefree. So when the mind is looking inward instead of outward, that mind does not mess up with any thought and claims this is me. So then you start observing, watching this thought is different, separate from you. So you develop the recognition that you are separate from the content of the mind. You are separate and different from the content of the mind. What it means? It means, for example, you saw a person you hate, instantly mind says, I hate this guy. So you have a sense of reaction. The next moment you recognize it is a thought, it is a thought, it is a thought, thought of reaction, and then you also say in your who says? The wisdom. Who says? The wisdom mind says, I am neither a thought nor an experience of reaction happening in the mind. What happens? Your expectation and reaction both dissolve. Why? Because of a conscious response. I discussed that. I repeated that because of a conscious response. That is the meaning of being carefree. So you recognize that the thought, feeling, and experiences passes through your mind like trains on a platform, like the traffic on the highway. Here we say freeway. We are not charged any toll here. Or the trains on a platform. The platform does not change. The trains come and go. So you are the awareness, the knower, the seer, not the thought or the feeling. All experiences takes place in the mind. You are not the mind, you are separate from it. So, no issues. You can contemplate and reflect. Means you are thinking the moment the unwanted, uninvited, and unwelcome thought or a feeling enters, you contemplate. What that means? You simply ask a question: is this thought or a feeling truly me? Again, I'm repeating: is this thought or a feeling truly me? Reflection reveals the answer is no. I am awareness, I am an observer, I am a knower. I cannot be a thought. I cannot be any thought or adjective associated with the thought entered the mind as unwelcome guest, as intruder. Then what happens? You made a conscious choice. You made a conscious response. I discussed that. Conscious response weakens the impulsive nature. By repeat practice, you change. By repeat practice, you change worldly intellect into a wisdom intellect that makes you a seeker of self-discovery. At the same time, your fear, your anxiety, reactivity lose power. Why? They are recognized as a mental content, not the truth. So now to maintain that state of the mind, what should we do? What should we do? Maintain that peaceful state of the mind or intellect it becomes a wisdom intellect. But what to do? So once you have done these 4 steps, you just do nothing and start looking the flow of the breath. Means you want that kind of a mental stability. to get mental stability or steadiness, mental steadiness, we watch the flow of the breath. It seems has no relationship. That is why we escape the practice. We don't, if you do the repeat practice consistently, you will recognize how important it is. So you are looking at the flow of the breath. You observe the breath moving in and out. Pay attention. You observe the breath is moving in and out. You experience or feel the sensation of the breath when it goes in, or comes out. So flow of the breath, you feel it, you feel the sensation of the breath, and no change in the flow of the breath because you are not doing anything. You are simply watching because you are not doing anything. Very important point. If you do anything through the mind, it is your impulsive mind. Now, what you recognize? Where do you recognize? You recognize you are always present, unchanging, observing behind the flow of the breath. Behind the sensation of the breath you experience. You are always behind, no change of the flow of the breath. Because you are not doing anything. Behind. So breath flow is in continuous motion. It is changing. It is observed. And you are behind all of them as knower, as observer. So when that happens, when that happens, you already experience calmness. You are going into the depth of the ocean to find the real self. Oh, is that so? Yes, my friends. And now we can add one more part of it. Now you watch the breath or the flow of the breath. So you watch flow of the breath. You watch the flow of the breath clear, and in that breath in and out, and sensation in and out, and sensation and no change. You're watching very good. Do you check? Do you feel? Do you feel or experience track of the breath or the flow in and out? Yes. Yes, you can feel it. So on that track of the breath, you drop Om Shanti. You track. What you do? You drop Om Shanti while the breath in and out. That is all. mentally say with me, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Experience the change, calmness. Bring the mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences, and bring the hands down. Bring the hands down, we'll share our experiences now. How are you in?
Yeah, I feel very peaceful,
Good.
and each time, of course, we learn to stay on track or go back on track because it's easy to get off it.
Yeah, it takes time.
That thing happens.
I'm doing it even for the last 45, 46 years. And still sometime, for a fraction of a second, you find where you are. So it's a lifelong journey of finding the Padma. But I'm happy you return on the track. How are you, Mead?
I feel calm.
Good.
And I feel a sense of peace.
Very good. So please listen to it and teach to your friends in the community. That is all for today.